Okay, good evening, everyone. So today our lesson 4. Before we start our lessons, let's pay homage to the Buddha 3 times. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay. Today we use new system so that you can see my face clearly, and also that you can see the PowerPoint. So we use another media software so that in the Zoom, especially in the record, in the live streaming, people can see the speaker very clearly. Okay, so, and also I can see you, I can see many of you as well. I can see many of you, so that you see, because of the new software, those who can see very clearly, we can talk face to face right now. Okay, so this is today our lesson 4. Previous week we talked about 4 ultimate truth or 4 ultimate realities. We call it Paramata Satcha. Chaita's consciousness. So the characteristics of consciousness is awareness of the object. So when we see something, then our mind aware of it. But at that moment, we do not know what it is. Then there will be a lot of mental process according to Abhidhamma. Then when we hear a sound, our mind aware of it. So this is the characteristics of consciousness in Abhidhamma. So the consciousness is a principal element of our all experiences. Without awareness of the object, without citta, so we will not know it. So cittas, according to Abhidhamma, it plays an important role. Second one is cittasika, mental factors or mental functions. Then after we aware the object, our mind make a lot of functions. Sometimes angry, sometimes compassionate, sometimes we laugh, sometimes we hate. So these are mental functions of our mind. That's called cittasika. According to Theravada Abhidhamma, we have 52 mental functions. So when we study the suttas, in the Sutta Pitaka, you will see there are different type of mental functions. Not only 55, so there will be hundreds and thousands of mental functions are mentioned in the suttas. So Abhidhamma trying to summarize all these mental functions, mental activities. So it will be incorporated into 52 mental factors. So that's cittasika. So for that reason, I always say that those who want to know about your mind, the mind of other people, we need to study mental factors. So we have 52 mental factors. The next one is called rupa. or matter or material phenomena. So according to Theravada Abhidhamma, we have 28 material phenomena. So actually all the citta, citta, rupa that we have as a human beings. The next one is nibbana, the bliss of nibbana, the bliss of nibbana. So wherever you see, wherever you hear, wherever you encounter with your ear, eye, nose, tongue, the body, and the mind, everything can be summarized with these four ultimate truths. Other than these four ultimate truths, nothing. So everything except four ultimate truths. So the rest are called conventional truth. The rest are called conventional truth. The names, we have a lot of names, and we have a lot of imagination in our mind. We have mental images in our mind. All these are called conventional truth or panyati. So they do not really exist. So they are accepted by people with a common consensus. So our mind created all these mental images. So only four ultimate truths are the real truth. But of course, in the day-to-day life, we use a lot of conventional truth. The names are the truth, but they are not ultimate truth. So we have a lot of mental images in our mind. They are also truth, but our mind created it. So these conventional truths can be changed because of the time, because of the people, because of the places. But these four ultimate realities, so that there'll be no changes, all the time truth. They really exist. At the time of the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, there's a consciousness, mental factor, material phenomena, nibbana. So their characteristic is the same. The citta, citta, rupa in me and citta, citta, rupa in you, the same, no different. So for that reason, in that sense, citta, citta, rupa, nibbana are called four ultimate truth. So nibbana bliss, nibbana happiness really exists. When you extinguish all the defilements, all the negative mental state in your mind, then you will experience, you yourself will experience the bliss of Nibbana. It really exists. Whether I attain Nibbana or you attain Nibbana, the bliss of Nibbana is the same. The bliss of Nibbana of the Buddha, the bliss of Nibbana of a lay person, the same, no different. So for that reason, in the Vinaya Pitaka, the Buddha said that in Buddhism, there's only one taste. Only one taste. The liberation of the mind, liberation by wisdom from negative mental state. So the bliss of Nibbana really exists. It's not an imagination. So for that reason, we are four ultimate truth. Up to now, any question? Any question? Okay. Nisha, you can unmute from your side and you can ask.
Afternoon, Bhante. I want to ask, so your conventional truth and ultimate truth, your through your ultimate truth, you get your conventional truth, right? So it's interlinked.
Let me, sorry, can you repeat your question?
So,
Sorry.
so I'm saying, does the ultimate truth give like the basis for the conventional truth?
Not a basis, but if we understand four ultimate truth, so we understand conventional truth because the rest of the four ultimate truth are called conventional truth.
Mm.
So there's only we have only four real truth, four real truth. They really exist all the time. Other than that, other than these four ultimate truth, so the rest are called mental imagination, countries,
Mm.
and also we have a logo, we have a name. All these are created. All these are created. They do not really exist.
Thank you, Bhante.
Conventional truth. Okay. Okay, Chua. Hello.
Bhante, thank you for understanding my question. I want to ask whether there's something from which all these citta, sikka, rupa, nibbana come from. Maybe like emptiness. So if there is this thing called emptiness, is emptiness an ultimate truth?
What's so sorry that you use the word English another English term. Which one?
Emptiness. Does citta, sikka, rupa comes from emptiness?
Emptiness, you know?
Yeah.
Emptiness.
Emptiness.
Oh, okay. So actually, to discuss about emptiness is very heavy one. So actually, citta, sikka, the first one, citta, sikka. So they arises because of conditions, especially material, the material phenomena. I have eye, then something to see. Because of these two material phenomena, the unconsciousness arises. Then after unconsciousness, with contact, feeling, perception, all these main factor arises. So actually, consciousness and mental factor, citta, sikka, they arises because of the causes, depend on the causes. But regarding with the rupa, so actually they are, how to say, they can be experience with our eye, ear, etc., with our body. Nibbana, regarding with the Nibbana arises if we do not have negative mental state in our mind. The bliss of Nibbana will arise if there's no negative mental state in our mind. So regarding with the emptiness here me, according to the Suttas, emptiness in Theravada. So there is no permanent entity. Citta, sikka, rupa, they arises and they will disappear. Arises and they will disappear. So there's no permanent entity in the citta, in the citta, sikka, and in the rupa. So in that sense, we call it empty. Empty of permanent, how to say that? Emptiness of permanent entity in our body, in our mind. That's called emptiness.
But doesn't like the citta citta come from something? Come from somewhere?
No. Actually, I think I will discuss about it in the next so in the next lessons. Not next lessons when we talk about the rootless citta. So normally people think that the mind citta citta arises from our brain. Some people think that the mind arises from our body. According to Buddhism, it's not so. The mind doesn't exist anywhere. The mind does not exist in the brain. The mind does not exist in the body. But it arises because of the causes. I something to see, then I'm consciousness. I'm citta arises.
Okay.
And I have ear, then the sound. Because of these two conditions, that ear consciousness arises. So they do not really exist anywhere. They arises depend on conditions. So I think we'll discuss about it in when we talk about in next lesson. Next lesson me when we talk about Ahituka citta.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
After asking question, please lower down your fin. Nisha. Okay. Okay, let's talk about it. Here, I want to discuss importance of ultimate truth. Importance of ultimate truth. It is important to see and understand the ultimate truth to make an end of the original suffering. If you want to make an end of suffering, you need to see the ultimate truth according to Buddhism. According to Buddhism. In the Sutta, such understanding is called Yatha Buddha Jnana Darsana. Yatha Buddha Jnana Darsana. The knowledge and vision of things as they really are. The knowledge and vision of things as they really are. So understanding things as they really are. So according to Abhidhamma, we have a citta, cettasika, and rupa, right? Citta, cettasika, and rupa. So if you understand the nature of citta, cettasika, rupa as they really are, that is called Yatha Buddha Jnana Darsana, the knowledge and vision of things as they really are. So here also, for that reason, if you understand the ultimate truth by yourself with your wisdom, then you will make an end of suffering. So there will be no suffering in your mind, especially there will be no mental suffering in your mind because you are understanding of the knowledge or wisdom. Suppose we have the body and we have the mind. We call it nama rupa. So if you understand the real nature of the mind and the body, such understanding is called the knowledge and vision of things as they really are. Our body, subject to impermanence. Our mind, impermanent. So arises and passes away. Not just in theory. Through your mental understanding, your own understanding. So for that reason, we are meditating because we are developing concentrations, a deeper level of concentrations. So if we have a deep concentrations, we can see, we ourselves will see our mind, our mental phenomena in the body arises and passes away. That arises and passes away. You yourself will understand. You yourself will see it. If you see the impermanence nature of your body and your mind, that is called the knowledge and vision of things as they really are. So if you have such understanding and wisdom, if you encounter the loss of your beloved one outside, suppose your parents dying, your children dying, your friend dying, then if you have knowledge of vision and things that they really are, then you will not have a mental suffering in your mind, because you know that the body and mind, they are impermanent. Even though your parents, your beloved one passes away. So there will be no mental suffering in your mind. So for that reason here, in the suttas, it is called Yatha Buddha Jnana Darsana, the knowledge and vision of things that they really are. But Abhidhamma, then we can call it understanding the ultimate truth, for ultimate truth. For ultimate truth. Then I want to give okay, so I want to show the nature of ultimate truth, then as well as conventional truth. So in the dependent origination in the suttas, so regarding with rebirth, the rebirth in the new existence is mentioned in this way. It's called, it is from Samdhanika. Regarding with the birth in the new existence, it is mentioned in this way. And the Buddha said that, and what bhikkhus is birth? The birth of the various beings into various order of beings. They are being born, descend into the womb, protection, the manifestation of the aggregate, the obtaining of the sense pieces. This is called birth. For those who haven't learned dependent origination, it may be a little bit difficult, but I just want to, compare conventional truth as well as the ultimate truth. So in these teachings, so the Buddha talk about a rebirth in the new existence. So when you look at here, and the birth of the various beings into the various order of beings. So that means when you were born, actually normally we call it beings, or a passing. So according to Abhidhamma, according to ultimate reality, so there's no passing, there's no being. So the passing and the being, we call it conventional truth. So in this discourse, so the Buddha talk about a birth in the new existence with the conventional truth as well as ultimate truth. Among these one, so the manifestation of the aggregate, the obtaining of the sense species. So these two, it talk about rebirth in the new existence. So according to conventional truth. So that means we will find aggregate. So number one is form or rupa or material phenomena. Number two, feeling. Number three, perception. Number 4, mental formation. Number 5, consciousness. So in the 5 aggregate, when we talk about 5 aggregate, so there's no passing, there's no being, just mental and physical phenomena. Rupa, on how to say the form or material form is a rupa, one aggregate. Feeling, one aggregate. Perception, mental formation, consciousness. So actually, so the Buddha use how to say that the Buddha explained mind and body in terms of 5 aggregate. So when you was born in a new existence, so actually according to ultimate reality, there's no being, there's no passing, just manifestation of 5 aggregate. Suppose when you was born in this life, so we don't so only 5 aggregate arises in this life. So the form, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness manifests in this life. So this one, the manifestation of the aggregate, this is called, we call it, so the Buddha use ultimate, the Buddha talk, the path of a sentient being in the ultimate reality way. Another one is obtaining all the sense basis. So sense basis here is eye, ear, nose, the tongue, the body, and also mental base. So here, the manifestation of the aggregate, the obtaining of the sense basis, only these 2 terms talk about ultimate truth. Only the last 2 terms, manifestation of the aggregate and obtaining of the sense basis, so are the ultimate reality teaching. So the rest are called conventional teaching, or panyati. So when you look at how to say them, when you look at the usage in the Sutta, so the Buddha used different terms to talk about a path in the new existence. So only 2 terms the Buddha used ultimate teachings. So the manifestation of the 5 aggregate and obtaining of the sense basis. But the rest, so the Buddha used conventional terms. But if you do not understand the nature of conventional truth and the nature of ultimate truth, you will not understand. You will misunderstand teachings of the Buddha. But here, when you look at here, how to say that they are being born and descend into the womb. So when you look at this term, descend into the womb, in the mother's womb, it look like, if you look at that particular term, it look like a being, came into the mother's womb. It look like a teaching of a soul theory. So in one sutta in Digha Nikaya, Mahanidana Sutta, the Buddha talk about how to say the 3 criteria of how to say the a rebirth. One of them is called Kantapa. So some people think that Gandhapa is a type of a person or a being. So Gandhapa came into the mother's womb. So when you look at the usage, descend into the womb. So that means a type of a being, then a person will die. Then as soon as they die, they will go to mother's womb in the next existence. So if you do not understand true truth in Abhidhamma, so you will misunderstand. So a person will transmigrate to another life. A person will move to another life. So that is a wrong interpretation according to Buddhism. So actually there's no transmigration or a passing, or there is no movement of a passing from one life to another. Only the manifestation of mind and body. Manifestation of mind and body in new existence. And obtaining of the sense basis in the new existence. So there is no such a thing as a person or a being who will descend into the mother's womb. But in this discourse, of course, the Buddha used the word descend into the mother's womb, or kandi. So actually, the Buddha used those terms, or kandi, as a conventional truth, because people are using all these terms. But so there is no such a thing, a person or a being transmigrate from one life to another. There's no such a thing. But as soon as your mental and physical phenomena die in this life, then manifestation of new mental and physical body in the next existence. So there's no such a thing, a person or a being move to another existence. But here the Buddha used descend into the mother's womb. So the Buddha used as a conventional truth, conventional terms, because we are using as a conversation. When you look at these teachings, I hope you understand the importance of understanding, the importance of the knowledge or understanding of Four Noble Truth. So if you understand two truth in Abhidhamma, conventional truth, then ultimate truth. So there will be no misunderstanding or misinterpretation about the Buddhist teachings. Okay, any question regarding with this one? Because this is important, because we need to know the importance of ultimate truth. We are meditating because we want to see ultimate truth. Okay, here.
Namo Buddhaya, Bhante.
Okay.
Bhante, there is one question, because just now Bhante mentioned about 5 aggregates. One of them is consciousness.
Yeah.
And then the 4 ultimate truths, also one of them is consciousness. Are they the same?
Oh, very good question. Actually, they are the same. In the 4 ultimate realities, we have a consciousness. In the 5 aggregate, we have a consciousness. They are the same. In the 4 ultimate reality, we have a cittasika. And we have a 3 aggregate. Feeling is cittasika. Perception is a cittasika. And mental formation, sanya khanda. Actually, these mental formation is another 50 cittasikas. But the first one, the first aggregate, rupa khanda, rupa. Form is a rupa, the same rupa. So the difference between here is in the four ultimate realities, we have a Nibbana. In the five aggregate, no Nibbana. So Nibbana is not reckoned or counted as a aggregate. So for that reason, I always say that if you see five aggregate, you see ultimate realities. Another thing is in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, we have a four foundations of mindfulness, right? The first one is Kaya, body, how do you say the Kaya? Kaya is the recollection of the body, recollection of the body. And second one is recollection of feeling. Sorry, how to say the contemplation of the feeling. And third one is contemplation of the mind, citta. And the last one is contemplation of the phenomena, contemplation of the phenomena, Dhamma. In the Satipatthana Sutta, we have four foundations of mindfulness. So you develop mindfulness because you are meditating. The reason is to see the real kaya, to see feeling, to see the mind, and to see material phenomena. Phenomena. So here also in the Satipatthana also, we can even say that the aim of Satipatthana Sutta is, or the aim of meditation, taking meditation is to see kaya as they really are, to see Vedana and Citta and Dhamma as they really are. So actually, same thing, you see, we can call it, how to say, Kaya, Vedana, Citta and Dhamma, they are called ultimate realities. They can be called ultimate realities. And also five aggregate here also can be called ultimate realities. But of course, in the five aggregate, there's no Nibbana. Nibbana is not counted as the aggregate. And also obtaining all the sin species, they are also, the Buddha used ultimate teachings here. So the rest are, other than these two terms, so the rest are called conventional terms, conventional usages, like the path of various beings into the various oral beings. So that here, so you was born among the Singaporeans. Singaporean here, they are oral beings. But you was born here. You are among the Singaporean. You was born as a being among the Singaporean. So actually we are using the word beings. The Buddha is using the word beings, is the word passing as the conventional terms. So by looking at those conventional terms, it will lead to misunderstanding. People may think that a type of person or a type of being came down, and was born in Singapore. Not like this. When you die in previous life, so the mental and material phenomena cease. And the new mental and physical phenomena arises in this life. So that is called manifestation of the aggregate in this life. The obtaining of the sin species in this life. Only the last two are the ultimate teachings. So the rest are conventional teachings. Okay. After you ask question, please lower on your hand. Wagnesh.
Yes, Bhante. Hi.
Oh, okay, hi. Yeah.
Okay. The theory of soul, I want to make this simple. Simple question, simple answers. The theory of soul is easy to understand, straightforward.
Very
Like,
good. Very
yeah.
good. You understand it. Okay.
So the theory of soul is like when you goes to another body, it brings over the karma, the five aggregates or whatever it is, it brings over. But the theory under the Buddhism, what is being reborn, or what carries over all these karmic forces and the five aggregates, that is the thing which is being lost, which I don't understand.
Oh, so that means you accept theory of you understand theory of soul. There's no soul,
The
but you.
theory, sorry, the theory of soul, if anybody speaks on that, is easy to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the theory of no self is even in the logic sense also, it doesn't make sense. Why I'm telling that is when the five aggregates and the karmic force, something must hold all the good karma and the bad karma to cause it to be have a rebirth, whether it being as an animal or being as a human beings or being as a ghost or even in the heavens. So what is this being born?
Okay. The first one is you it is easy to understand. There's no soul. Okay. And second part is which carry, which move to new light, right?
Yes.
Especially in Mahayana school, in general, I would say in general, in Mahayana, we have one theory. We call it Alaya Vijnana. Something, something that, how to say, all your karma, or good or bad, all the energy will be stored in that place, in that particular place. Alaya Vijnana is the how to say, a type of a place that store all the good and bad karma in our life. But in Buddhism, in Theravada Buddhism, we don't have such things. As I earlier said that our mind arises because of the causes, So the mind is not stored somewhere. Then our karma also not stored in somewhere. But there will be energy that make, how to say, our mind, how to say, so there's no, how to say, our mind is not stored somewhere. Our mind, it arises because of the causes. I and something to see, the I consciousness arises, and other mental factor also will arise. Because of I and form, these causes, the mind arises. Yeah, when I refer to the mind, it means citta, cittasika, these two. So there's no such a thing that the mind is stored somewhere. No such one. But of course, in just like you, many people, for many people, it is hard to accept. There's nothing that our karma, good and bad karma, is stored. It will be produced in this existence. But when you understand the nature of the mind, and then that problem is solved. So the first one you need to understand is our mind is not stored somewhere. The mind is not in the brain, the mind is not in the body, not somewhere else. It arises because of the causes, So, then the rebirth in the new existence, the rebirth in the new existence. So the principal element is consciousness. The principal element in the new existence is called consciousness, viññāna. So the viññāna or consciousness arises in the new existence because of the craving for existence. So in the case of the Buddha and Arahant, so they don't have a craving for existence. So for that reason, as soon as they die, so there will be no new consciousness. So the stream of consciousness totally stop at their death. So, but here, the condition for the rebirth in the new existence is craving. So we was born in the new place because of the craving. So the Buddha and Arahant, they don't have a craving for existence. So for that reason, after they die, so there will be no new consciousness, because there's no cause for that rebirth consciousness in the new existence. For normal people like us, we have a craving for existence. Because of that craving, the new consciousness arises in the new existence, together with Chittasika as well as the Rupa. So there's no something that our karma, our good and bad karma store. So those all the mind, including the mind, the first mind in the new existence, arises because of the causes. So the main cause is ignorance and craving. I hope I cover your question. Still have a question?
Thank you very much for the explanation, Bhante.
Okay.
The concept of Nibbana, I wouldn't say it's a concept. The beauty of Nibbana is easy to understand.
Okay,
It's
good.
end of craving. But the theory of no self, why is, I would not say contradicting. I couldn't put any word to that. Like when a being dies, it is reborn in a hungry ghost. Then there were certain levels of heavens. This is contradicting to some of the theories. But never mind. I think after I die, I can realize that. Only that can give the answer. It's okay.
Because I think normally how to say, in our mind we have the concept of something, concept of something in our mind, which is really exists, just like its soul, normally in our mind. Normally within that soul, or whatever language you use, something, there is an entity move to new existence. Normally we are thinking like this. But even here, the Buddha used descend into the mother's womb. So actually, a person or a being will descend into the mother's womb to take a new life. But these are just conventional, how to say that, conventional terms. So there's no permanent, there's no entity or a person that go to new existence. So the nature of mind is arises and passes away. The new mind will arise, and that also will passes away. When you die, right, this life, the consciousness, citta, cittasika, rupa in this life will stop. Then the new citta, cittasika, rupa will arise in the new existence. So that is the theory of rebirth in Buddhism. But of course, our karma, good or bad, is just a part of our mind. Just a part of our mind. So actually karma, for that reason, karma or good and bad karma, we call it volition. We call it volition. Volition is karma, according to Buddhism. The volition is cittasika. As soon as you were born in the new existence, then citta and also cittasika, volition will be there. When you do the good things in this life, then a good volition will be there. Not something is transmigrating to new existence. Only the manifestation of citta, cittasika, rupa, arising of citta, cittasika, rupa in the new existence. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Bhante.
Okay. If we are talking about rebirth, there many questions arises. Anyway, I think it's good to know it. As a Buddhist, you must know it. Then Eric one.
Good afternoon, Bhante. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is about the 5 aggregates. Okay, when I contemplate on it, I realize that it is only 3 aggregates: the cittas, cetasikas, and rupa. Okay,
Rupa, you're right.
but this feeling and perception has been pulled out from cetasika. Okay, so it becomes.
Right.
My question is, it must be very important for Buddha to pull out feelings and perception. Can you tell me why is it so important, these feelings and perceptions, to become one aggregate by itself, become 5?
Okay. Because feeling, so when we experience good and bad, I want to say that touching, you know. Suppose when we experience hot weather, then will be hot feeling. Cool weather, cool feeling. When we eat a good food, a good feeling. When we eat a bad food, a bad feeling. So feeling is important in our experiences. So when we are not mindful, or when we are ignorant about feeling, then craving will arise easily. Craving will arise easily. So the Buddha talk about 5 aggregate, and the Buddha take out feeling and perception as the important aggregate. So here we can say that number 1, we have a rupa. Rupa is form. Rupa is material form. So based on material form, we will have a feeling, vedana. If we are not mindful, then craving will arise very easily. So in the dependent origination, because of feeling, craving arises. So the craving is the original suffering, the original of our suffering. So feeling is important. For that reason, the Buddha take out feeling as a one aggregate. Another one is perception. So perception is not used for meditation. Actually, perception also important in our, I want to say, the mental thinking. We have a lot of perception. When we see something, when we hear something, we perceive. How we perceive is important in our experience. We have a lot of perceptions about a people, a lot of perception about a place. Perception also important aggregate that make us a lot of problem, right? So for that reason, even though we have Chitta only one in the four ultimate realities, here we have a three: feeling, perception, and mental formation. Actually, Bhikkhu Sujado, he used the word mental activities. Sankhara as in mental activities. So other than feeling, perception, all the mental activities are incorporated into one aggregate. It's called Sankhara Khana. Normally we call it mental aggregate. So anyway, these are important in our thinking, in our mind process, So for that reason, the Buddha, how to say, the Buddha analyzed into four aggregate regarding with the mind. So the last one is consciousness. So the main reason is, so when the Buddha want to analyze the mind and the body, especially the mind and the body, and the Buddha use five aggregate method. But of course, the Buddha used many method. For that reason, we are always saying that sometimes we normally use only mind and body, right? Only two. In the meditation, we call it Nama Rupa Prachira. So the teachings of analysis of mind and body. If you can analyze mind and body, then you have the knowledge and the vision of things as they really are. So if you understand the nature of mind and body, that's enough to understand. Then sometimes the Buddha use five aggregate method because for some people they don't have a problem regarding with the body, rupa, no problem. Rupa, one word is enough. But regarding with the mind, the Buddha analyzed four group: feeling, perception, mental activities, and consciousness. Those who need to explain more about the mind, so the Buddha analyzed five aggregate method. Sometimes some people, so they don't need to explain about the mind, but they need to know more about material phenomena, more about rupa. So the Buddha will use the word sense basis. So we have a 12 sense basis: eye, ear, nose, the tongue, the body, and we have a form, a visible form, sound, smell, touch. How to say the taste and touch. So these are material phenomena. So sometimes for those who want to know about rupa in detail, the Buddha will use the word sense basis. We call it ayatana. We have a 12 ayatana. So the Buddha will use different method of teaching. It depends on the listener. Who is listening? So for that reason here, and then regarding with the five aggregate, so we have a three Cettasika, right? Three aggregate under Cettasika: feeling, perception, and mental activities, mental formation. Especially feeling and perceptions are so important in our experience. Because if we are not aware of it, aware of all these feeling and perception, we will have a craving. For that reason, we need to know it. So the Buddha bring about all these feeling and perception under the separate aggregate. Okay, so I hope you got a question. Okay, another one. Ngin yeah.
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah.
I have a question, Bhante. For this, the birth, can we like make a example? Like example is like the body is like the handphone, while the mind is like our Google account. So whenever we transfer the account to which hardware, then it will become the next. Can we compare it in this way?
You mean the our account?
Yes, the account is the Google is
software, not hardware, right? Maybe
yes,
software.
yes. So,
you want to
yes.
compare with it.
Can I understand in this way?
I think it's very dangerous. I would say that because in Hinduism, so they have a simile like this. So they have they believe theory or soul. So there is permanent entity, permanent soul in their body. So when they die, and the soul will left this body and take another new body. So they give a simile of changing the cloth. Then you change the old cloth, you take out old cloth and wear the new one. So they also give that simile. So the soul will leave old body and will go to next will take a new body. Actually, when we when we use our mind as a software, and then the body as a new hardware, I think it's a little bit similar to theory of changing the clothes. A little bit dangerous. So I think it's clear that suppose in this life we have a mind and body, right? Mind and body. When we die, so when we die, our mind, our body also die. Then our new consciousness, especially the consciousness, we call it rebirth consciousness, will take new rebirth. No? So we will have a rebirth consciousness in the next existence. As soon as that rebirth consciousness arises, as soon as that citta arises, other cittasika and also rupa also will arise. But of course, they are totally new. They're very new. But there's connection with our previous citta or consciousness. So the consciousness in this life die. Then because of craving the new existence, then our consciousness will, take root in the new existence. Together with the consciousness, so there will be other mental factor, including volition. Volition is karma. And also the material phenomena, the body. So if we use the simile of hardware and software, a little bit similar to the soul theory. Okay, thank you for all your question. Okay, then I will allow the last question. Sumana Lin. Sumana.
Hello, Bhante, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. One quick question is about the Gandhaba. What's the Gandhaba then? Because it creates confusion And also, if since the Buddha mentioned descent into the womb, so what's your view about this?
Okay, so I think we have a two truth, conventional truth and ultimate truth. So the Buddha used the word Cakkapala. So actually, I say conventional truth. Cakkapala is just a name. So actually, when we die in this life, and we will go to next life, That means we are not transmigrating to new life. Only the mind, especially the mind. Our mind and body disappear, cease in this life, then new mind and new body will arise in the next existence. So it doesn't mean that Cakkapala or a living beings moving to that new existence. No, not like this. But we are, the Buddha is just, using conventional terms, conventional names for easy understanding. And we can say that Cakkapala is the aggregate. Well, Cakkapala is a five aggregate. We have a form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Five aggregate will disappear, will die in this life, and there is the manifestation of the five aggregate in the new existence. Manifestation of five aggregate in the new existence. We can call it Cakkapala is five aggregate, but that Cakkapala or a person is not moving to next life. Only new five aggregate will arise in the new existence. All five aggregate will die in the last existence. Actually, when we talk about this in the light of Abhidhamma, we can say that the Buddha used the word Cakkapala, conventional terms. There's no such a thing as a being or a passing. There's only four ultimate realities, only citta, citta, rupa. In other words, we can call Cakkapala is citta, citta, and rupa. Okay. Let's move to next one because we need to cover something. It was a quick discussion. But here we have Abhidhamma and Paramata, two names. Normally in the ASAN, so they always ask the difference between Abhidhamma and Paramata. It's not a very different one. Abhidhamma, actually now we are talking about Abhidhamma Sangha. Abhidhamma Sangha, meaning of Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma. Here, Abhidhamma can be divided into two words, Abhidhamma and Atta. So here, Atta means the things. Abhidhamma means seven Abhidhamma texts. So Abhidhamma means the things contained in the seven Abhidhamma texts. In the seven Abhidhamma texts, it mentions citta, cittasika, rupa, nibbana, and paññatti. So seven Abhidhamma texts mention five things. So Abhidhamma means five things that mention in the seven Abhidhamma texts. So here, I highlighted paññatti. Paññatti means conventional truth. Just like the Pogla Panyati, description of an individual, Panyati. But here, Paramattha is 4 ultimate truths. Actually, we have already learned it, 4 ultimate truths. Citta, Chittasika, Rupa, Nibbana. So there's no Panyati. Panyati is conventional truth. When we use the word Paramattha, so that means 4 ultimate realities, 4 ultimate truth. There's no Panyati. Only 4, Citta, Chittasika, Rupa, Nibbana. But when we talk about Abhidhamma, something that mentioned in 7 Abhidhamma texts. So that means in the 7 Abhidhamma texts, not only 4 ultimate truth, but also Panyati is mentioned. So this is the difference between Abhidhamma and Paramattha. I think you need to take note this one. Normally in the exam, they always ask, mention the difference between Abhidhamma and Paramattha. Paramattha, quite clear, 4 ultimate realities. There's no Panyati. But in the Abhidhamma, something that mentioned the 7 Abhidhamma text, 5. Not only Citta, Chittasika, Rupa, and Nibbana, but also Panyati. Okay? These are not difficult, but you need to take note. Abhidhamma, Sangha. Sangha is a manual or companion. The companion of the things contained in the 7 Abhidhamma texts. It's called Abhidhamma Sangha. Okay. So we have 4 classes of consciousness classified by way of plane. As you all know that we have according to Buddhism, we have 31 planes of existence. 31 planes of existence. We have 11 sense sphere realms. 11 sense sphere realms. And we have 16 five material sphere realms. And we have 4 ultimate immaterial sphere plane. So altogether we have 31 planes of existence. 31 planes of existence. 11 sense sphere plane and 65 material sphere planes and 4 immaterial sphere plane. Altogether 31 planes of existence in terms of plane, in terms of existence. So we have 31. But now we are talking about consciousness or citta. We have 11 sense sphere planes. But in the 11 sense sphere planes, 54 consciousness or 54 cittas generally arise. In the 16 5 material sphere planes and 50 cittas generally arise. In the 4 immaterial planes, 12 cittas generally arise. But now we have next one is a supramundane consciousness. So we have 8 supramundane consciousness. So we have 4 Magga citta and we have 4 flat citta. 4 so altogether we have 89 cittas. So altogether we have 89 cittas. So those 89 cittas are classified according to according to the plane where they generally arise. So we have 11 sphere realms or planes. So in those 11 realms, 54 citta generally arise. We have a 65 material sphere planes. So in those planes, 50 citta generally arise. And we have a 4 immaterial sphere planes. In those realms, and 3 citta generally arise. But here, supramundane consciousness, we have a 8 supramundane consciousness. Where they arise? Is there any realm or any place where those citta generally arise? No, there's no. Actually, there's no realm. So for that reason, but here I think you should know that when you have 8 supramundane consciousness, 8 type of supramundane consciousness, Lokottara citta, you experience the bliss of Nibbana. You experience the bliss of Nibbana. So actually, according in Buddhism, we have 4 Magga citta. So we have 4 flat citta. So when those citta arises in your mind, so those cittas will destroy negative mental state in your mind. They will destroy lobha, dosa, moha in your mind. If there's no lobha, dosa, moha in your mind, then the bliss of Nibbana, you can experience the bliss of Nibbana. So, in that sense, for the Lokottara, 8 Lokottara Cittas, there's no physical plane. There's no physical plane. There's no physical plane. Okay, I think I will come to that when we are talking about 8 Lokottara Cittas, and I will explain in details. For the time being, we have you just remember, we have 89 Cittas. 89 Cittas. So those Cittas are classified according to the plane. According to the plane, we have 11 sphere plane. So those are in 11 sphere planes. 54 citta arise generally. And we have 65 material sphere planes. In those planes, 50 citta arise generally. And we have 4 immaterial planes, and 3 citta arise in those planes generally. So there's no physical planes or there's no physical realms for the arising of 8 Lokottara Cittas. So we are using the word bhumi or plane metaphorically. I think I will explain it in later part when we go to Lokottara Citta. So for that, I think we have 4 classes of consciousness classified by way of plane, bhumi. I think you should know these 4. Kama Vachara Citta, Rupa Vachara Citta, Arupa Vachara Citta, and Lokottara Citta. You can remember in English or in Pali. In the exam, and you can use any language in Pali or in English in the exam. So when you it's up to you. Some people prefer Pali language, then they can memorize. Kama Vachara Citta, Rupa Vachara Citta, Arupa Vachara Citta, and Lokottara Citta. Those who have a difficulty to learn Pali, then you can remember in English. Since sphere consciousness, 5 material sphere consciousness, immaterial, supramundane consciousness. Okay, so Then I think I will explain the nature of, how to say, those planes for those who are new and they're new to Abhidhamma. I think. Then I think I should explain. We have a sense sphere chaitas, 54 Kamavachara chaita. So those chaitas arises based on our senses, So I is one sense. Based on the I, then some chaita will arise. So they are called sense sphere consciousness. The ear is one of the sense base. Ear is one of the sense base. So based on the ear, and sound consciousness will arise. Sound consciousness will arise. Then I have ear, then I hear the sound, the eye consciousness. Sorry, ear consciousness. Then after that, based on ear consciousness, so I may have a positive and negative middle state. So these are called sense sphere. So they arises because of the senses. Then nose, tongue, the body, the chaitas that arises based on the senses. So it is called Kamavachara chaita, sense sphere consciousness. So we have it altogether 54. The number 2, 5 material sphere consciousness. We have a 50. So actually, generally they are number 2, number 3, they are jhana chaitas. So when you attain jhanas, so you will achieve, so one of the 5 material sphere consciousness, rupa vachara chaita. And then later I will use the word rupa vachara, kama vachara, so that it's easier, if I'm pronouncing an English language, very long. But here, 55 material sphere consciousness, so they are jhana chaitas. But here, you can see the word 5 material. Here the word rupa. So when you attain one of the 50 rupa vachara chaitas, so those chaitas are stay connected with rupa. Stay connected with the rupa. When you attain those jhanas, so those jhanas are attained based on the rupa. Suppose you are practicing breathing meditation. You are breathing, the breath is rupa. Your jhana is attained and connected with the rupa. But that rupa is fine. It's not a very, it's very fine, very refined rupa. For that reason, we call it 5 material sphere consciousness. Then we have a different type of meditations. So if the jhana is attained based on those 5 material conscious, 5 matter, that's called rupa vachara chaita. So we have a 12 immaterial sphere consciousness. Here you can see the word immaterial. There's no rupa, there's no rupa. So those 12 jhanas are attained not based on the matter, and they are attained based on other object. So just like a concept and just like the mind. So arupa jhanas are attained based on the immaterial things, based on immaterial things, just like a concept and just like a mind. We call it arupachana. Arupachana. The next one is Lokottara Cheta. Supramundane consciousness. They are the highest. They are the highest. And they are above the mundane Chetas. So actually, other than 8 Lokottara Cheta, the rest are called mundane Cheta. We have 81 mundane Chetas. 8 Lokottara Chetas are supramundane, higher than mundane Chetas. Mundane Chetas. So when you attain 8 Lokottara Chetas, then you destroy defilements or negative mental state, like a lobha, dosa, moha. If you can eradicate, if you can remove all these defilements in your mind, and there will be no suffering, mental suffering in your mind, that means you achieve the bliss of Nibbana. So some people misunderstand that Nibbana is somewhere to go, somewhere to go. Nibbana is in the heaven, or Nibbana in the sky. Some people may think that. No, it's not like that. Nibbana can be experienced in this very life. If there's no lobha, dosa, moha right now, you can experience the bliss of Nibbana right now. So for that reason, 8 Lokottara Chetas, they do not arise based on a particular place. But we use it the word bhumi or plane because in that particular plane, bhumi, there's no 3 type of craving, sensory craving and 5 material craving and immaterial craving. But here, if there's no sensory craving, number 1. Number 2, if we don't have a 5 material craving. Number 3, immaterial craving. If there's no 3 kinds of craving in that particular plane, so 8 consciousness, 8 Lokottara consciousness arise. But here we use the word bhumi or plane. As far as 8 Lokottara Chetas are concerned, it's not a physical plane. It's not a physical plane. So we use metaphor. If there's no 3 type of craving in that plane or in that bhumi, then 8 Lokottara Cheta arises. So 8 Lokottara Cheta arises not based on physical plane. So we use metaphor or plane or bhumi, because in that plane or in that bhumi, there's no 3 type of craving. So for that reason, we call it Lokottara bhumi. So other 54 Kamavachara Cheta, 50 Rupavachara Cheta, and 12 Arupavachara Cheta. So they arise as depending on physical plane, physical realms. But here, 8 Lokottara Chetas, they arise as not based on physical realms, because we use metaphor in the plane or bhumi where there's no 3 type of craving, then 8 Lokottara Cheta arises. I don't know whether you understand or not. Maybe in when we go to 8 Lokottara Cheta, I will explain again. Okay, any question? Bhante Sumangala. Hello, Bhante.
Hello.
Oh
Can
yeah,
you
Bhante,
hear
I
me?
hear you. Yeah, I hear you right now.
I want to know, I want to explain these chittas according to Satipatthana Sutta. In Satipatthana Sutta, in Chittanupassana, there are 16 categories of chittas. So, how we can elaborate this according to Abhidhamma?
Oh yeah. In the 4 foundations of mindfulness, we have a citta nupassana,
Yeah.
contemplation of the mind.
Yeah.
So in the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the Buddha used the word citta.
Yeah.
So in that citta nupassana, and 60 categories are discussed.
Yeah.
So I think here it is important to know in the citta nupassana, even though the Buddha used the word citta, and the Buddha also mentioned about Chittasika. So in the Satipatthana Sutta, even though the Buddha used Citta Nupassana, so when we use the word Citta, it doesn't mention about consciousness. It also mentioned about Chittasika as well. Because we have a Loba, Raga, or lust, we have a Dosa, hatred, and we have a Moha, delusion. All these are Chittasika according to Abhidhamma. But in the Satipatthana Sutta, so the Buddha used the word citta, but that citta indicate not only consciousness in Abhidhamma, it also it also mention about Chittasika as well. So I think we have to know the terms and also the definition. But here in Abhidhamma, of course, in Abhidhamma we differentiate between citta and Chittasika. Citta means consciousness, pure awareness. And Chittasika is the mental factor or mental function. But in the Satipatthana Sutta, when we look at the word citta, it means not only consciousness, but also the mental factor as well, Chittasika as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bhante, thank you. Then the last question, we you know.
Namaste, Bhante.
Okay.
I would like to ask, Bhante mentioned about the fine material sphere's consciousness is because of rupa. The object of the meditation is because of rupa. But I would like to ask, how about Buddha Nusati? Buddha Nusati can also attain first jhana, right? And Buddha Nusati is not rupa.
Actually, you cannot attain. Oh no, let me check. I think you cannot attain jhana. Huh? You cannot attain jhana by contemplating the quality of the Buddha, right? Let me check because.
Upachara Samadhi or first jhana, Bhante? I forget.
Oh no, Upachara Samadhi is a near jhana. It's not a jhana.
Yeah.
Let me check. Huh? Oh. Puranosati. No, Puranosati you cannot attain because you are able to, if you practice recollection of the triple chain, recollection of the Buddha, you can attain only Upachara Samadhi.
Mm. Okay. And
Vajra
how
Samaya,
about metta?
Norijana.
And how
Metta you
about
can
metta,
take.
Bhante? Yeah, metta is not rupa, right?
Metta, yeah, metta you can attain the first,
Second and
second,
third
and
jhana.
third jhana. Third jhana, yeah. Third jhana.
And the object of metta is not rupa, right, Bhante?
The object of metta is concept of a being, a person. You're right. You're right. It's very good point. Good point. Of course, yes. Here, when you practice metta bhavana, the object of your meditation is the concept of person, concept of being, not a matter, not a matter. I think it's a good point. So actually, here, rupa here indicate. I think we can say it in general. But when you practice metta bhavana, then you will attain rupa jhana. But the object of your meditation is not a rupa, not a rupa. It is the concept of a being, concept of a being. So in that sense, my explanation about the rupa jhana are attained based on the rupa is not a, how to say, all inclusive. But we are talking about in general.
Okay.
We're talking about in general.
Okay, Bhante,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your all questions. So then let's close our lessons. Okay. Yo varatam bhavaro manu jesu sakya muni bhagava gata kecho parakato bala viriya samangi dan sukatan saranatamu pemi raga viraga maninjama sokan dhamma mimansa dhamma raga viraga maninjama sokan dhamma masangata mapatikulan marurami mampakunan suwipatan dhamma miman saranatamu pemi yata chate nama apalamahu chatusu susi supuri sayugesu atacha bogalata mata sate sangha miman saranatamu pemi. Satu. Okay, see you on Monday.